Welcome to another episode of Not Right in the Head starring the Hammer. That's me. And this guy over
Dr.
here,
Bonky, and that's me.
Dr. Wonky, but he has lower audio than me. So I must be the leader.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll quiet my voice down then.
What's new, Dr. Wonky, besides everybody everywhere trying to kill us? What else?
Well, is everyone everywhere? Yeah, I guess they are, and that would include our healthcare system. Right? They're trying to kill us too, or at least drive us broke.
Mm-hmm. No, they're trying to kill us. They deny care because it costs too much money.
Well, it costs too much money if the big corporations have to make their stunning amounts of profits, right?
So, well, yes, that goes without saying. I don't even know why you have to say it, but all right. Yes, of course.
I know. I silly me. It goes without saying. I know.
I mean, United Health. But, have you heard of United Health? They just use that H kind of as a joke. It's really a W.
Yeah, I like that. Well, you gotta use that somewhere, son. I actually chuckled at that. That would be a good one to use in one of
my many super funny routines. Yeah.
When you're making your comedy jokes down there at the club.
Yep, I will be doing that tonight, but I will not have a United Health /Wealth joke in there.
Oh, okay. Well, not yet. Another night.
Yeah. Well, some other.
So with open enrollment for Medicare starting I think on Saturday.
Oh, it hasn't even started yet.
I know. You know what it used to be? I think it used to start October 7th, but it's. Oh, I actually think that it was Trump who shortened the enrollment period.
That's my guy.
Yeah, the Trump and the Republicans shortened the enrollment period. So now, they took about a week off. So let's see, to 12th, 13th, the 14th is Friday. Maybe it begins on Friday, but
that's a great time to start something at the end of the week.
Yeah, great time to start. Yeah, so that nobody can get through anywhere to ask any questions.
That's beautiful.
Now that Medicare Advantage, Medicare Disadvantage, Medicare Ripoff is 51% of the Medicare recipients have chosen Medicare Advantage for all of its wonderful benefits. It's probably that trend is probably not going to reverse. I don't see how it can. And Medicare Advantage actually not being Medicare, it's private insurance that Medicare pays for.
Pays for with a profit.
With a profit.
Yeah.
We're paying for
not a Medicare profit, but a health company profit.
Yeah, whereas Medicare itself, real traditional Medicare that we've had since 1965, cannot make a profit. And as a matter of fact, they don't, but they do a much better job of patient coverage in the sense that Medicare only has a 3% overhead, which means that 97% of the money, the funds that are paid into Medicare, are paid out traditional Medicare go to patient coverage.
So Paul, I'm just wondering why a lawsuit can't be filed against Medicare Advantage since they want to call themselves Medicare, of why that no profit thing can't be enforced.
Because
you can do it, but you only get a 3% profit.
Well, there's no lawsuit because it's a law. You're filing a lawsuit against a law. It was a law passed by George W. Bush and the Republicans when they passed the Medicare Part C is what we call Medicare Advantage, and Medicare Part D is the prescription drug ripoff, which grows and which is also private insurance. $600 billion in private insurance for prescription drugs, which every year they raise your premiums and cut your coverage by what they do is it's not the government who sets the tier of a drug, tier being what its what its costs are. The companies there is no standard. They decide the tier of the drug themselves, and I guess it's up to us to shop around and say, oh well, I can get this and for this particular drug prescription that I need. Well, this company A has it on tier 2. Oh, but company B has it on tier 3, and which means I have to pay more for it. So you're supposed to shop around. There's no standard that defines any particular medication as a given tier, which ought to be really, I think it ought to be standardized, and it ought to be up to Medicare to set. But Medicare has no jurisdiction over Medicare Advantage.
That is a conundrum, but could be solved by Congress/president.
Right. But you see what's going to happen. Here's the problem. Medicare Advantage is here to stay no matter what, because now that more than half the people, slightly more than half the people on Medicare have chosen Medicare Advantage, not even the Democrats can go against it, because there are still people, and as a matter of fact, intelligent people that I know who are for progressive values and progressive commons ideas don't know that Medicare Advantage is private insurance, and it's not really Medicare. And I was with some friends a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying that, I don't know how long Medicare is going to be around if more than half the people have now selected Medicare Advantage, and everybody in the room said, oh yeah, that's what we have. And I don't think anybody knew that it was private insurance, and that what they were supporting, what they were selecting, because Medicare Advantage, they offer these BS perks like, oh, they're going to give you eye and dental, and they really don't.
No, they don't.
And you can opt for it. Oh, and a gym membership, right?
Right. Yes, I know all that, but here's what happens and why it's grown over time, I do believe, is that when people first sign up, they may well just call their regular insurance broker, or they may just call one, off the internet or whatever, because they don't know anything about it. They know zero about it because they've never been on it. And so when they say, okay, I want to sign up for Medicare, then it's my understanding that these people don't mention any differentiation at all. Here's your plans. You can get this, this, and this, and you've got to pay X for that, or this, this, and this. And, the least you can pay is whatever the current minimum is to get regular Medicare. And then they will still get you on Medicare Advantage, even at that, because they still don't tell you. And I do believe that the insurance people get more money for the Medicare Advantage if they sell that. And they're not even really selling it because the people don't know that there's a difference. And not only that, I have talked to people just this week where they're on like some kind of union package when they retire. And even though they don't want it, the union has picked Medicare Advantage on their behalf, or their doctor has decided that they will only take Medicare Advantage. And so they either have to do what he wants or, go somewhere else if they can find somewhere else.
Yeah, because a lot of people, their selection of doctor, in my view, is not the wisest choice. But if you go to a private general practitioner, often those are on the preferred provider list of the Medicare Advantage plans. Whereas if you go to, I remember when I didn't know it was Medicare Advantage several years ago, when they called me, I only had Humana for my Part D prescription drugs. And then they called me and said, oh, we can do better than your regular Medicare. And you got to watch out for if you have Part A, your hospitalization, you have to pay for the first 3 days, and then, they tell me, I said, They said, we can do better. We can cover all that. And I said, how can you possibly do better than that? And he said, well, Medicare pays us in different ways. And I'm like, okay. And they didn't ever tell me, where on the back end, okay, and you won't have to pay your monthly Part B premium either, which was $127 a month. Now the Part B premium now is $170, but they don't tell you what they're not going to cover, how it's backloaded. It's on the back end that you're going to end up paying, rather than your Part B premium, $170 a month. What is it now? But then when I said, okay, well, I had two physicians providers that I wanted to see, and I said, and they were all at Pacific Medical Center, both of them. And I said, and they said, well, let me see. No, we don't cover those two particular providers, but we do have a very good provider in your area, right near you. I said, how do you know they're very good? Do you know them personally? No, but he said that they're real close to you. Well, yeah, it is a private general practitioner, and I'm not going to go see a private general practitioner for certain things that are pertain to me. One of them is my eyesight, my eye disease. I can't. They're not going to cover that.
Mm-hmm.
So that I said, no, I'm not just going to go to some fly by night person. I go to a major medical center, either a university medical center or a major medical center where there are more than one person that's going to be looking at my chart and perhaps identify, hey, wait a minute, did you see this? Or what does this result mean? When you have one doctor looking at your chart and they're looking at the data that they put on there, they're not likely to check back and say, wait a minute, what is this? And I had something on my back that turns out to be a benign tumor that more than one person said, hey, what's this? Maybe we need to look at this. I don't know that a doctor would have bothered with it. But
well, I mean, the really worst part of it, besides the money part, which they can start out on the Medicare Advantage, charging you, you said 170. I think they increase it for like $200 or $300 a month for the gold or whatever bullshit they call it. And
no,
and
the regular
on the back end, then when you get older, when you start getting sicklier,
mm-hmm.
then then they just deny.
Right, they can, and that's where the two recent articles in the New York Times this week, they had one that talked about the billions that Medicare Advantage companies have bilked the government out of, because they are only, whereas traditional Medicare does a 97% patient coverage, 3% overhead. These Medicare Advantage companies are only required to use 60% of what they receive from Medicare for patient coverage. 40% of what they receive, they can pocket in whichever way they want. And the other thing is that they offer these people, a gym membership, for instance. Well, you don't automatically get that. You have to go sign up, and the gym, like say 24-hour fitness, they don't get paid unless you sign up. So in other words, if you don't sign up for your gym membership, Medicare Advantage company just puts it in their pocket and rolls it over as profit for all the people who don't sign up for a gym. By the way, nobody who is waiting for Medicare Advantage for a free gym membership is going to use it, because if they don't go to the gym, they're not going to the gym. They just don't exercise. That's all there is to it. So They're likely not to use it. So Medicare Advantage pockets that money. And then the stuff like the dental coverage they offer, they just contract with these other fly-by-night dental programs that you see on TV, which are all they cover, really. So you pay $30 a month as a premium, which seems pretty good for dental coverage, except all they cover is 2 cleanings a year, and you have about a $3,000 deductible if you actually had to need dental work. They cover the cleanings, but at $30 a month premium, that's $360 a year. Well, I get my teeth cleaned twice a year. My cleaning is $89, and the oral exam, which these dental insurance don't cover, the oral exam. The oral exam is $79, and my current dentist does an oral exam every 6 months. Some do it only once a year. So I pay what, $168 every 6 months without insurance. For I pay $89 for the cleaning, $79 for the oral exam, but Medicare Advantage would, or their plans wouldn't cover the oral exam, and I might as well just. So if I'm going to pay $30 a month, that's $360 a year. If they're only going to pay for the $289, I'm already paying. I might as well pay for it myself. That's just $180.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a ripoff.
It's a ripoff every which way. And for people, of which there are a lot of people that live only on their Social Security, they got nowhere to pull from unless they take up robbing 7-Elevens.
Right. Exactly.
Are
you recommending that?
No, I'm not recommending it, but I would understand it if it happened.
Is that your side hustle, robbing 7-Eleven?
Not yet, but it's just,
Well, we have had our healthcare system, which, by the way, is reaching entirely unsustainable levels of costs. It's out of control because our healthcare system since 1970 has been the cost of increasing with the formula of about 2% of GDP per year. We add on to additional costs as a nation, which means this year our GDP is about $21 trillion. That our costs have increased at $420 billion only this year, and it'll be another $420 billion next year. So you see, in 3 years, we're well over another trillion. Our healthcare costs, costs now are almost $5 trillion a year.
Yeah, and people can't pay it, and they have jacked it up so much because of the crooked insurance industry, of which Medicare Advantage is a part of.
It's a major part, and frankly, the Affordable Care Act is just a Medicare Advantage program that you have to pay for until you get to be 65. And then you can join.
The thing about Obamacare is if you don't make very much money, like a lot of people on Social Security, you don't have to pay anything. And you can also get on Medicaid. So
if your state expanded it and you qualify.
If you qualify, which is
not easy. It's not easy.
No, of course not. You can't have any assets. You can't have any income or hardly any income, hardly any assets. And so if you are living in a tent on a street with no extra job, you don't have an address.
You don't have an address. Oh, that's a deal breaker right there.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, it used to be prior to earlier in the 20th century, before 1929, that is, the insurance companies wanted nothing to do with health insurance because they thought that nobody would want it and only the sick would buy it. Other people would just pay out of pocket because a doctor's visit to your home or if you had to go to the hospital was $5 or $10.
Right. So yes, back in the good old days, doctors were just regular working people. They weren't millionaires.
And now, since 1929, well, actually, Blue Cross came in 1929 when Baylor Hospital offered the Dallas Teachers Association a year of hospitalization care for $30. So you could get insurance. And then, so that was the beginning of Blue Cross. The only problem with that was, in those days, that didn't cover the physician. Your doctor had to come to the hospital. There were no hospitalists or physicians that worked in the hospital, the doctors. So in 1939, 10 years later, Blue Shield came out, and that was the doctors pretty much offered the same thing that Baylor Hospital offered, was you can pay your doctor fee for $30 a year. So for $60 a year, you had Blue Cross Blue Shield. In 1942, because there was a worker shortage due to the war, President Roosevelt also ordered in September of 1942 that companies, employers could offer health benefits as part of the compensation package as long as it didn't amount to more than 5% of the total amount of the compensation package. That's where you started your perks. And then in 1954 or 1949, sorry, the Inland Steel, in the Inland Steel case, they argued that the court ruled that the union could use healthcare in bargaining for compensation. And in 1954, the IRS they moved to make those benefits non-taxable. So I mean that was huge as to why we have private insurance, and ever since it's gotten completely out of control, and all the rules have been written in favor of the health insurance companies who before, remember, never wanted anything to do with it, but now they can make a ton of money on it because everything's written in their favor. And it's called path dependency. This is where we've been. This is why we keep doing it. And it's getting more and more expensive to the point where it will be, in a very short period of time, unsustainable to the point that that's all we're going to be able to pay for in this country is healthcare. But of course, that's not what
Well, but at some point they'll say, you know what, Medicare is bankrupt.
Yep.
So you on your own, old people.
That's right. And they're going to say you're all on Medicare Advantage. You just have to pick a Medicare Advantage plan. Medicare is bankrupt. You'll have to pay for it. And then once again, when the health insurance companies have a monopoly, it's going to be collusion to just jack it up. And of course, old people, everybody has pre-existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got that? Sorry, you have that. Oh, that's really going to cost you. And so people are just going.
Well, but I mean, forget about the cost you. That's the people that can afford it. There's plenty of people that live on less than $1,000 a month from their Social Security. They have no extra $100 or $200 to pay per month. And so then they would just have to say, well, we'd like to help you, but you don't got the dough. So
yeah, that's exactly
why don't
right.
you try, some poultices from grandma or.
Well, and when you look at the lifespan in
the lifespan is already going down. And when I was a kid, it was 70. And now it's 76 or something. I mean, it was
78. It was 78, and then the statistic lost some due to COVID. But the life expectancy since Medicare was passed in 1965 skyrocketed. It really went up at a very sharp curve compared to the previous from 1900 to 1950, and then in 1965, because in 1950 the life expectancy was 65, so you were just old enough to get on Medicare before you died.
Oh yeah. Well, but maybe it was in like 1970 or something that it went up to 70. But I mean, between 1900 and 1950, it had to skyrocket also because that's when they invented antibiotics and that stuff.
Yeah, well, it
vaccines
skyrocketed, but mostly due to, I mean, and this is a kind of a statistical, mostly due to public health regulations and safety regulations in the workplace. So in other words, people didn't die as much at work as they were before 1900.
But there was still the antibiotics and the vaccines.
Yeah, it did. Antibiotics after World War II. And the other reason that the life expectancy has skyrocketed, not only just 65, but since 1985, is all of the technology, all of the digital-based computer technology and speed of computers has allowed all of the diagnostics to be able to early diagnose these problems that were killing people. Mm-hmm. And that's so we are.
Yeah.
Our success again is our the Medicare, there's no doubt that Medicare and having Medicare pay for that has been, it's been a hugely
It's been a
successful.
boon, but now with Medicare Advantage and them, not covering stuff once you get too expensive with your medical needs, that I think is going to lower. I think Medicare Advantage will lower the life expectancy.
I think it will. And what I don't understand is how in the hell, I think, as you've said, do we have a government sponsored program where not every dollar is going towards the purpose of the patient care? Some dollars are coming out in profits to corporations. I can't abide that. Why the hell should it be a profit? Not every damn thing in this country is better off by having a profit motive. It just isn't.
Well, but not only that, I mean, those same corporations, not even counting the people over 65, ream everybody else.
Yeah.
And, there's not.
Yeah, they ream everybody. That's what corporations do.
Not supposed to be pre-existing conditions, but there is. I met people that can't get stuff covered.
Well, but the corporations, by and large, are the ones who cause the pre-existing conditions. People working for them.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, and with all the climate, like having to breathe smoke every day in the summer, that's not going to help my lungs.
From climate change because of corporations polluting and
right.
and
polluting with abandon. And even no matter how many hurricanes they see or floods or whatever, it doesn't move them. It doesn't move them.
No, I don't see, and I can't see this changing because, like I said, the Democrats, I don't know how vociferously they opposed this Medicare Advantage when the Bush and the Republicans passed it, but they're certainly not going to oppose it now if half the people, many of them being Democrats, are selecting Medicare Advantage. I have one friend, actually, she's dual citizenship of American Canadian. She lives in Canada. She has Canada Care, but she had to select Medicare when she turned 65. And she selected Medicare Advantage so that she could join a gym which gave her someplace to take a shower when she was traveling. That's your only reason for selecting Medicare Advantage.
Oh, okay. She should have just joined Planet Fitness for $10 a month.
Exactly. I mean, you join 24-hour fitness and you have the
total, still have shower.
To do nothing. Actually, 24-hour fitness should have just the shower and shave membership, right? You don't get to work out. You just get to come and take a shower.
Yeah, they should.
For $10 a month. Yeah.
I know. So basically, if the Russians don't kill you, the American corporations will.
Well, the Russians, yeah. And now if they're talking about, iodine pills, which, by the way that works is that when you have iodine, hot iodine, or that's nuclear or radioactive iodine, your thyroid uses iodine, and so if your iodine level is low and you sort of import this hot iodine, you will have radiation in your thyroid, which is like could cause thyroid cancer. But if you get enough iodine in your diet, it saturates your thyroid so that you can't take on any more iodine and you won't take on any hot iodine. So that's why they are recommending these iodine tablets. But if you just eat, for instance, that's why we have iodized salt. So that it provides you with this.
I know, and they say salt is bad for you, but
better start salting your food now. Yeah, you better start salting your food now.
I know, they're like, don't use too much salt. And I'm like, but it tastes so much better. So.
Well, like kosher salt doesn't have iodine in it. And that's.
Oh, I don't have kosher salt.
I use kosher salt and.
Oh, you do?
Somebody told me, hey, this doesn't have any iodine in it. So I don't know. I don't know if my daily vitamin has iodine. It probably does.
Well, that's all right. But good news, it's time to wrap it up.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
that quickly? Okay.
Yep, time flies when you are talking about Medicare Advantage, which, boy,
Yeah,
I
it
cannot
is.
get enough of.
Can't get
Anyway,
enough.
so thanks everybody. Maybe your name is Zero, maybe you just look like a zero, but we know you're out there, and we thank you for listening to us. We had a lot of brilliant things to say, and we'll have more brilliant things in the future, but I can't tell you what they are
Right.
because I haven't invented them yet. But thanks for watching Not Right in the Head. I am the Hammer, and this is
I am Dr. Wonky.
he's Dr. Ron. It would have been nice if it rhymed, but he wouldn't go with that. So anyways, we will see you next time. All right.